just trying to think as well if this Lycan. This isn't necessarily a game where that howl is going to be massively impactful either. Like, you know, with the globalness of it at nighttime, it's not huge, right? Like, maybe against a chronosphere early on, but I feel like most of the time the Lycan is probably going to be a target of the early chronospheres.
All right, here we go. Game 3 with Execration taking on Neon on that team. We'll move on forward. Then, which team is that going to be?
What's it gonna be? You called the Ember, and I called the Lycan. So it feels like we're more in sync with Neon's draft, don't you think?
Yeah, yes, sure. I can agree. I do think Execration are a slightly better team.
Yep, me too.
Which is definitely something I'm considering. But I do like Neon's lineup a little bit more. So I will go them, but hesitantly.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking down the same path.
See though how this one's able to play out. Trying to get my predictions in.
Oh, he doesn't even deny the bounty rune. Never mind. Switch my mind. Execration, 3 bounties, easy game.
Game, easy life. What's the lane setup looking like? It will be play hard, starting down bottom. Yep, sure. So you've got the Earthshaker here with the Lycan. At least he's going to be able to help out with manipulating the creep wave.
Nice hook. Up top. He's going to get away, though. No enchant leveled just yet, in the impetus instead. Obviously wanting to layer out lots of big instances of damage against a Centaur, where that retaliate isn't going to have quite as big of an impact.
Hino's in some trouble here if they land the hook. Shank's going to try and push on forward. This early level in impetus is proving to be a very big issue for Tino. He went double ring of protection, which you kind of need with the Centaur change, but the pure damage for the impetus doesn't give a damn about these items.
The pure damage from the meat hook won't either. So, I mean, really, level 2 is what they're looking to play around right now on Seh and Fortune Soul. Enchant into a hook back into the rot with impetus. Anyone's going to die to that unless they just TP away, and Tino doesn't have the HP pool to be able to just move on away. Another courier kill.
Alright, top lane off to a flying start. We're just going to be looking at the level 2s for them until they can get aggressive. We'll keep take a look down bottom for the moment, but we'll have eyes on top just in case those 2s are picked up and they get aggressive. But bottom lane for the moment, chill. Ah, there we go. There's the 2s. Move in with a couple of stuns, nothing crazy.
No enchant just yet on Seh. That's really the only thing holding them back, and they'll only have a mana for 1 or 2 of the impetus usages. There we go.
There's the 2, and Tino goes down. Beautifully done from Neon. You see Shanks, he was trying to drag the wave, recognizing that they could not play this lane very, very shortly, but Seh, his drag to melee creeps over, so he will be able to cut this off in the path.
Fortune Soul, might be enough to just get some of that solo experience up. Really, I don't want to say all you need is level 2 on the Enchantress, but Pudge makes much better use out of these early levels. Honestly, I'm seeing this as like 2-1 lanes for Neon. That was the big thing that influenced my decision towards predicting them. Bottom lane, if they're able to even salvage out a drawn lane, that's going to be enormous for Neon. And Playhard's been doing pretty well at the lane manipulation, securing range creeps with the Fissure, getting consistent pulls off onto this medium camp, but he's just been body blocking up the small camp, making sure that it's not going to balloon out too far towards the Radiant Tier 1 tower and put Lycan in a risky position.
You see the micro shenanigans that they're up to, like Henry is using the Wolves to try and drag the hard camp to get the pull off. You mentioned play hard up to his good old creep cutting as well, so they are recognizing it's going to be a tricky lane.
Gets the courier, blocks the camp, pulls the wave, I'm assuming behind the tower. Now Enryu can just back up entirely. He'll give him all the experience he could possibly want. Creep wave, half of it's going to probably be denied away here. And Playhard could just get back on out there. Get a little bit more map presence through. I don't think Vincenzo's going to be at all concerned, but just look to pick up a bounty rune even on play hard if you're wanting to. Steal that away from the Puck, who isn't having the easiest of times against Avatar mode, but not falling actually as far behind as I was thinking.
He's chilling at the moment here from Bob. It is also a hero that he is obviously incredibly comfortable on. Grandmaster, level 30. The amount of farm that he's getting at the moment. This is a matchup that again comes down to if you're able to secure the runes, and unfortunately for the Puck, he will get no water rune to play with. So this is going to give Avatar mode a big opportunity now to just slowly dwindle down the health pool of the Puck, and Bob actually might be forced all the way back to base.
I think he will indeed. They're actually pinging that fact out, just saying, hey, don't worry about a Puck for the next little bit. He's not in a position, excuse me, to be able to TP out to a lane either, other than mid. Still needs to spend the next couple of minutes, A, getting up to that level 6, and B, dealing with that siege creep wave, because anytime you're playing against Enchantress, sure, you're a lane dominator, but you could just link up with one of those catapults and look to really put the hurt into one of the others.
Where are you going?
Shanks up top might be in a little bit of trouble here. He's already used the Impale and the Spy Carapace, so Fortune Soul and Sarah is able to chase down the Nyx Assassin very easily.
Lane's going pretty well for Neon. Enryu, he's not fallen too far behind the Void. The Void was always going to get a good amount out of this lane, so Palos, his game isn't going to be harmed too much, but it's the fact that Enryu is pretty much keeping up. He's almost a full level ahead in terms of experience, just because of how far away from the lane Playhard's been playing, and only 400 or so net worth behind at 5 minutes? I think he could be feeling very happy about that.
Yeah, that he is. I think when we see this Helm of the Dominator come out here for Enryu, there's going to be consideration for the Ember Spirit to even rotate. You could even bring the Enchantress down bottom as well, considering the Pudge. Will be okay mid lane. Bob, find the fissure. He's got the orb still to play with for the Puck, so Bob will be able to get out of danger.
Oh, he's like so close to hitting that Dream Coil. I feel like Bob would have gone for that kill attempt if he just had that tiny little bit extra. Had plenty of mana to be able to play around, and even though he didn't have the HP for it.
Sam might be in some trouble. Sidesteps the orb, beautifully done. Oh, it's going to be down bottom with the power rune as well. Oh, Bob's getting pretty unlucky this game. And Ryu's going to get some solo time against Palos, and he will be more than truly okay with the extra damage from the Wolves as well to help out. Meanwhile, top lane, Tino, he's in a little bit of trouble. Hook's going to land. They will get some distance now, but look at the body blocks. The rotation's going to come out from Bob, however. Cole's going to leash them both together. Can they kill off the Pudge? This hero's incredibly tanky, but Shanks lines up the double impale. What a stun out of the Nyx Assassin. They'll get the Pudge. That's the important target. Set. He can limp away, but at least you slow down this Pudge's game.
A little bit of panic coming through there from Ser. He ended up using, snapping the coil there, while he had an option to be able to potentially get a few more right clicks into the Centaur. Avatar mode, though, not using any of this, let's call it space. Not wasting any kind of this space, although stun coming through, never mind, gets interrupted by the Fissure. And this Siege Creeper survived for a good minute and a half hitting into this tower, so even with this, glyphing, putting a really tanky creep in the way, the Siege shot bouncing luckily towards Bob.
Vincenzo's forced to just run into the middle. Get some space, play hard, even wants to try and tank up the tower as well to get that extra little bit of right-click damage from the catapult, but meanwhile, Vincenzo, he still goes down. Neon are playing this game incredibly well. What a laning phase for them to start.
Yeah, very, very nice. It might look not like too much, the less than 1k net worth lead, but it's much more. You know, the bottom lane has gone far too well for Enryu here. It's going to be a nice rotation coming through from Bob, though, dropping the Chronosphere. Really wanting to save that Dream Call for kills onto the more mobile heroes, and finally should be able to fall down. Actually has to pop the coil. Like, you almost feel okay with that, because now you just get this next little bit where maybe you make an aggressive play. You've got the Helm of the Dominator finished up. You can use the Shapeshift pretty happily.
Yeah, you need to bring, I think, the Enchantress down bottom. maybe say you could make an argument for him playing around mid with Avatar mode to potentially take this tier 1 tower as well. If you split up your resources, you could put pressure on multiple objectives and force Execration to decide which tower they want to give up. And looks like with both supports mid lane, nice slight dodge from Avatar mode. They get the deny at least. There's the tower, and now bottom should be the next on the agenda.
That's a little bit on Shanks, though. He had level 4 at the time and didn't actually put the skill point into the 2-point spike carapace. If he did, he would have landed with that impale after the fact. So, just, again, small mistakes like that. You still get the deny, so it's not the worst situation in the world, but they balloon out.
Fortune Soul gets to dismember through the Stampede duration, so Tino's completely wasted an ultimate. A solo kill for Fortune Soul, much needed after the death that he received prior.
3 seconds on the Dream Coil, so you have to assume that Puck doesn't really feel like she can accomplish too much on this bottom side. They scan the fact that Palace is inside the tree line as well, almost blocking him off entirely with the Helm Dom creep as well as the Wolf, but they're not committing their bodies too heavily here on Neon. I feel like Seth can, just pushing his the impetus stacks in through. Would hate to see him pick up a Blightstone as well, just to accelerate that pace that little bit more.
This is scary now. This is everything that Neon need for their lineup to be able to succeed. You get some early towers, a little bit of gold into the bank of the supports, and Enchantress and the Earthshaker will do a lot with this bonus gold. We've seen Playhard, he really likes going down the route of the first item Aghanim Shard, so if he can find that directly at the 15-minute mark, then that will have a lot of value. Top lane,
careful here
Coil
on the
onto Avatar mode. He's gonna look to pop it inside. They got a couple of stuns, but they're gonna be too late to find the fault. Impale's still there. Oh, Avatar mode is playing with fire. It's the Remnant out at the last second, holding on to it, seeing how many abilities and how many heroes he can force to react to top. Because meanwhile, bottom.
I like this spot. I like this a lot. I want them to stay down here as long as possible. It's really good that they didn't have to use the glyph for this, but you use Dream Coil, you use the Tombstone. It feels like a lot of big cooldowns used just to try and get a kill onto an Ember Spirit that never eventuated. So with the strength coming through from Enryu, he doesn't have the full Vlads or even the Helm of the Overlord finished up, but it's a lot of auras. Bassi, Buckler, Helm Dom creep. Just in 10 seconds, the shapeshift too.
With all this going on across the map, Fortune Soul is getting closer and closer towards the Scepter. One component completed, almost enough gold for the second one as well. And as soon as that Scepter's picked up here, we could see the Pudge look to get very active across the map.
His body in there, pump faking the Fisher, wanting to scare Puck a little bit, but this is valuable time that's being wasted here. You know, you've had Seh as well as Play Hard, banking around this this Radiant jungle for the last little bit, but nothing's really been achieved. You know, Seh's actually farming a little bit. He's going into the power treads and want to be able to find some additional sources of damage inside of the minimal lockdown that they've got, but they haven't found any big objectives. They haven't even found kills. Oh.
Sentry chops, so they're going to see Shanks. I was just going to say, I do think this is where Execration can now look to maybe take some fights off the back of the Vendetta. It's a lot of damage to open up, even potentially finding a pick-off onto the side lane. So I like the fact that Shanks has been able to find his level 6, 12 minutes in. They've got the Chrono as well, so Execration, they can look to take a fight, but it needs to be in a pretty perfect location, as maybe this one is, but Tombstone dropped. Unfortunately, they're going to be late with the Chronosphere to hold the Ember into play, so instead they'll go for the Enchantress. Fissure will buy some time. Palace is on the wrong side of the wall. Timework's going to be up in a couple of seconds, and even using the Stampede to help out, but hang on. Oh, he gets a first hit bash, but it won't matter. Spike Carapace out of Shanks, canceling the Dismember. So they will be able to chase down the Nyx Assassin. Radiant, they are nearby to hold them back.
Triple coil.
Coil's going to be expended. Avatar mode with the Slight. He's going to be okay for the moment. Neon, they might look to go back in. They've got to be cautious that they don't group up, because Palace is ready with the Chronosphere. He's going to juke out, moving back towards the tier 1 tower. T2 tower, but it looks like that's enough.
There, though. Oh, going deeper. You don't have the damage for this Palace. No one does. Pudge is way too tanky with that Vanguard, with a maxed out Flesh Heap.
Radiant's bottom
No
tower
Dream
is
Coil
under
available,
attack.
no Tombstone, not even a Vendetta. Oh, look at all this. All the while, Enryu down on the bottom side, just pushing this in, slowly but surely.
Dire are scanning.
I like the fact that Palace has gone into the Midas, though, against an Enchantress, against a Lycan, at least for this first little bit of time. You've got the potential to slow down the push. And we know that the area of the map that they have available to be able to farm is shrinking. So, always going to be effective when you have very little spaces. There we go. Value Midas coming through against the Enchanted Creep. Oh, no.
Loss. Oh, that impetus gonna do. Oh, okay. Oh, Jesus. Do you smoke?
I mean, if
You've
Avatar
got
mode had
one.
more mana, that would have been probably a dead Faceless Void coming through there. Do you smoke? Or do you just push mid?
I push mid as in pressure the tower, or just push mid to
Yeah.
clear the wave? Can they pressure the
Try and
tower? I don't
pressure
know if they can.
I don't know if they can do much at all. Look at that. Wild Wing Ripper just pushing himself onto the low ground. Oh. Predicting the movements.
I do feel
It's
like
away.
we have a bit of a stalemate at the moment. Like, we're waiting for this Helm of the Overlord to be picked up for the Lycan, BKB on Avatar mode, Scepter on the Pudge, and for Radiant. At least Bob now finally has his Switchblade, and Palace is ready to go whenever he has the Chrono, but really you're waiting for Tino's Blink Dagger. He's very, very farmed on the Centaur. It's kind of what happens when you go this Vanguard and along with the Hood. You can just play your own game, but once you get that Blink, you need to capitalize. If you die a couple times after this item is completed, all of a sudden you will have issues with scaling.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, Neon, it felt like they had this period where they could have potentially taken so much more out of the map, but you're very happy to just sit back and be patient until you reach this timing. Maybe that was the message from Chuan in between games 2 and 3. Like, great job in game number 2.
Palace might be in trouble mid. They need to be perfect with their chain control. Playout's
Echo.
gonna move in with the Echo Slam. Totem out as well, but the damage isn't there.
Alice lets them know about it as well. Just not meant to be. Even trying to scare away Avatar mode a little bit. Has to be careful going for those dives in future because
no,
you've got
no,
the
he
hook.
killed the Rage Creep. Okay, sets up for the hook, but it will not matter. A little bit too late with the fingers. In fact, I think he didn't have enough mana on Fortune Soul.
These timings are all coming at once though. Aghanim shot on the Shaker.
Ember's in some trouble. Palos!
He
What
walked
a
in.
chrono! Clipping onto two heroes. They should be able to get the Ember afterwards, but Avatar mode is still alive. Remnant down to the right, but the orb secures the kill, but all of Radiant are incredibly weak except Tino. The blink reveal onto Fortune Soul. They're lacking the damage at the moment, but Bob, he's freely right-clicking. They'll kill off the Pudge. They're going to turn to the right side to try and catch up the set. And when they pay off from
Enryu's
afar,
here.
they should be able to do so, but Enryu is looking to clean up. Claims the life of Palos, is now juking Tino's stun, and they should be able to go back in afterwards. The shapeshift will expire shortly. Enryu's going to be pretty cautious. The first stun into the follow-up, it's not there at the moment. Still on cooldown from Tino, but he's nearby. Blink at the ready. Tino's back in. On to two. What a beautiful hoof stomp from Tino. But again, the follow-up. It'll come out of the double edge, but Bob's falling lower and lower. But he just gets the jaunt away. But Avatar mode, it's respawn. They killed him before. He's back alive. Looking to clean up. We'll get rid of Shanks. But they consider about going under the T2 tower, though, on Neon.
I don't think they need to go under it. They just need to be focused on pushing it right now. They forced the glyph out. Big win coming for them. No chrono. They got the Dream Coil back up, but no Stampede. Not even a Flesh Golem for the next little bit too. So I just look to play around that Lycan, who obviously has the Helm of the Overlord. He's going into the drums next. You've hit your timings, right? You've got the Aghanim Shard on the Shaker. You've got the Aghanim Scepter for Fortune Soul. Just short of the... Oh, nice hook. It's just onto an 9, but you'll take it when you've got 3 strength heroes on your team. That's the tier 2 tower removed.
I think high ground? Just poke a little bit?
Force the glyph, maybe?
Fortune Soul just wants the Crete Wave. I'm gonna look to back off, because mid they are trying to set up on Bob. It'll be a difficult kill for them to find. Very nicely done from Bob with the phase shift, but With all this going on, Palos is back to his triangle. He has his extra farming steroid in the Maelstrom now completed and will be working on the BKB.
Can I just shout out Bob again this game? I know it feels like we're praising him
Bob.
constantly, but this is a losing lane that you are down on towers, that he has a 400 net worth lead ahead.
Maybe don't shout him out too early. Maybe you don't shout him out too early. As Bob, he goes down, Fortune Soul was able to land a perfect hook.
Oh, the curse is real. They're in onto Shanks as well with Enryu. Pops the dust. Oh, looks like he might be able to get away for this next little bit. Never mind. Might be indeed. You got Seth there to be able to tank it up. You got all the Skelly boys there. Everyone with the plus 18 damage coming through. So don't put them in melee range. They're just going to get slammed.
Raiding are coming. Be cautious if they group up, but the damage is still the thing in question.
How
Are
perfect
they going to be
can this
fast
stop
enough,
be?
though? They're not. Roche is going to fall.
Stop.
Oh, get the Aegis. They get it. Fortune Soul has the extra life, and now they're going to look to Stampede to get out. But the chains will hold Tino inside the river. And out to the north, however, Palos, they're trying to solo down, play hard. They've isolated the Earthshaker, and they will penalize his positioning. But Neon, they're still looking to take the fight. However, Bob, oh no, the rod damage. Palos is going to get out, but the rest of the team, they cannot. Shanks and Bob locked inside the corner, but they'll both just be able to evade this. A coil holding back Dyer, but Bob, he's still in trouble. The body blocks into the dragon damage. Can they catch up to him? Right click, not enough, as Bob will just escape, and somehow all they lose is Tino.
Scratch that. Caster Curse 2.0 coming through here as Vincenzo ends up falling down. But to use the Dream Coil and the Chrono for not too much, I understand why Palos did it, right? He was caught. There was no way that he was going to survive if he didn't use that Chrono. Connecting onto 3, still though, next to the rot, never feels too amazing. And well, they're just, again, closing in, preventing the space that you're going to be able to pick up this farm. Yeah, he is. They know exactly where he's farming right now.
They've got the Echo Slam if they need it. This time they should be able to get the kill. We saw they were lacking the damage last time, but it's not the case. As the tips are coming out from Neon. Ooh, they're starting to feel themselves.
Oh, some of them tipping their old teammate as well. This isn't what you want to see come through. There was that period where Palos, he was making some pretty good results come through for Neon, but this is the result that matters. Neon trying to close this one in. They used the glyph previously, so high ground is very siegeable. 3 minutes left on that Aegis timer. Hood picked up as well for Pudge. It feels like nothing's going to be able to kill Fortune Soul.
Oh, they got the hook onto Bob. The Fissure as well. He might not be able to jaunt away, but Tino at least gets this thumb to buy the puck enough space, but Tino, he's going to be in trouble himself. They need to deal with the Tombstone, but look at the echo damage. Palos, he'll just escape. How are Neon surviving? They're trying to get the Fissure forward. Fortune Soul closing the distance, but he will not be able to keep up with the Faceless Void as Tino's back in. They'll deal with the first life. They're going to be able to turn it back around as Tino's in trouble. And Rue should be able to chase down the Centaur. And it's going to be up to buybacks now for Execration to hold the base.
Oh, going for the backline.
Fortune
just trying to disrupt any way you can.
Oh,
they just don't have the damage.
Gets a time lock away, but Bob, no, the chain control. Play hard. What a perfectly timed enchant totem coming out from the Earthshaker.
Worthy recipient of that temporary pass for playing the Earthshaker is play hard, and well, if he keeps this up, it's kind of like Uncle Roger giving out the uncle titles, you know? You could keep it, but you can lose it as well.
Your place is here.
Well, at the moment, he is well and truly keeping it with the performance we've seen from Play Hard, as Neon, at first Aegis advantage, will net them a full set at bottom barracks, a 6,000 net worth lead in the do or die last game of the series.
Uncle Playhard really showing up in this series. Playing a fantastic. I was debating that or like some kind of Jinkyu related thing, because I feel like Jinkyu is the Uncle Roger of Earthshaker.
Never refuse gold given.
What?
I just
what
don't
do
think you can defend this tier 2 tower. You just don't have the potential for it. Avatar mode. He's playing around a lot of gold as well. He can look to go into this Orchid, joins the rest of the team. He's got the Haste Rune to play around with as well.
Radiant's
He's going
middle
to need to
tower
pop it
is
pretty
under
shortly,
attack.
though. Kind of lacking in the mana department.
Bob, he might be in a bit of trouble. He's not going to have the orb to play with now. There's no follow-up. Avatar mode doesn't have the mana. Feeling hesitant about committing behind the T2 tower. They're just going to slow siege this one down.
Radiant's middle tower
Let the Helm of the Overlord do the job. Palos is going to time walk in. Palos won't be able to move out. In fact, Execration, they want to continue with the jump. Onto the Earthshaker. Play hard has been vital for the team fights. So he's going to look to buy back and rejoin them. Bob, though, he's in trouble. Stuck inside the lane, doesn't get enough distance away with the Jaunt. And now they're going to go down to Shanks as well as Avatar mode. Chains into the hook. Another easy pickings for Neon.
And they're just having to deal with an ancient granite golem as opposed to any heroes. So Ryu still just breaking out of the wolf form. Has the potential to... He actually just took over a range creep. Look how big that boy is on the left-hand side. Sieging like his life depended on it, and, well, in terms of the TI qualifier lives, it absolutely does. Just continuing to try and push on in. Plenty of charges left of the drums to be able to continue this aggression. Again, no glyph for 2.5 minutes. This could very easily be the second lane of Rax, but you've got the ultimates coming back up, so will Neon have the composure to back off?
Tino with the follow-up though, gets a double hoof stop. They're going to be cautious if they group up because the Chrono is going to hold the teammates together. The rod damage is out, but Execration, they can retreat. Tino unfortunately will not be able to do so as he's locked outside the base. And Avatar mode, he's going to pounce on Fall for more. Straight onto the Faceless Void's location as it sets up for the Dismember. As down goes Palos, and it's all
Do
up
it
to
solo.
Bob.
has fallen.
I don't think he can.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
Even just some of
Again,
this
the
region.
chains. Oh my, the change of the hook, the combo we've seen multiple times this game. That or the fissure. Neon are playing so incredibly well together.
They are indeed. It really feels like they've hit their stride as a cohesive unit. And they're going to just walk away after taking 2 lanes of barracks. Game number 3. Felt like the start of the game was going to result in a bit closer one from this, but this is what you and I were both scared about for Execration's sake. You know, this is a draft that you had the potential to win multiple lanes. You had this push that had no way to be responded to.
I'm struggling to see what Execration are going to be able to do to hold this next set. I think really the most ideal fight is somehow Neon do not commit on the Tombstone and they dive a little bit too deep because Radiant do have a lot of stuns and mobility to kite them and Dire kind of don't. So if you can somehow not address the Tombstone, which, well, speaking about the hero, bye-bye Vincenzo, and he does have a buyback, so 35 seconds without your position 5. You need every single member to defend this last set of barracks.
23 seconds on the glyph. They want to try and hold this one for the
Oh
last
my
lane.
God,
Oh,
Shanks!
jumps in the way.
He jumps in, eats the hook, and now they got the follow-up. They'll kill it, play hard. They need to kite the Pudge. They're onto the
bashes.
backline. Palos, the Chrono, it's still on cooldown. He can get some distance thanks to the time walk, but instead they'll just turn to deal with the Centaur. And Shanks, hit Pogo ticket to the middle. He tried to play with a Spike Carapace, but it was still on cooldown. It was an offering, but it wasn't enough because Neon, now they're looking for more. They might be able to catch up to Bob. He's going to juke out to the right side instead. Oh, Bobby.
Yeah, they're not losing sight of the main objective, though. They know that Roshan has the potential to be up, so Fortune Salt pinging it out immediately after that maximum time for it to have respawned. And, well, it gets a buyback out of Shanks, gets another glyph being used. It does still feel like they're lacking the damage, though. If you could wait this out long enough to have the Mjolnir on Palos, maybe you could look to go for an attempt. And look at this, the Ancient Ice Shaman's just almost doing it on its own.
They're going to look for another chains into hook, potentially.
If you're Bob, you gotta push out this wave, and I don't want to say buy out completely, but the fight that you're looking for with the Tombstone not being touched, I feel like you put the Tombstone in like just in front of where the tower is right now, a kind of obvious area, and use it as bait for the
They have the
chronosphere
ward?
to come
Oh
through.
no. Oh, look at the Ember.
But he does buy out on the puck. They realize that they need every little bit of damage, even if it means he won't have the buyback eventually. No Blink Dagger on the Pudge, so can't quickly blink into position and go for that hook. This is composed Dota. This is not something that we saw from Neon during the DPC, and well, this is a desperation play where there were creeps in the base, so backdoor protection isn't there. They're going to go for this full-on smoke, but it gets popped for one, and two, you're losing your base. Tier 3 tower's gone. There's nothing stopping the Ancient Thunderhide from taking another couple of chunks out of the ranged racks, and well, you've got nothing out of this movement. Plus, fucking Midas gets a blast rig for himself. Not going to do that much. Paladin Sword might, though, as well as this Mjolnir. You got to get back.
Oh, they're so close to buying up the Wreath Pack as well for the Undying. You mentioned that Bob bought out for the Kaya and Sunge. Palos just bought out for the Mjolnir. You need every single item you can get. Looks like
that's a big item too. Play hard. They are just checking Roshan literally as it respawns as well. So they're just going to be able to back up. They're probably still going to send a bunch of creeps here on Enryu to be able to keep the pressure up towards the lane to make sure that, I mean, this is obvious as hell, right? Bottom lane's pushing in heavily, but you got to go for the all-in play.
You need a ward though. Execration, they need a ward to take this team fight. They're just going to charge
Another
into the
great
middle.
chains.
Oh, it's an early BKB from Palos. They might be able to bring down Avatar mode, but he's going to be able to rend them down to the south, and meanwhile Shanks is gone. Palos, he's targeting the Enchantress, but this is not the hero you want to be prioritizing. You're not going to kill this man off. The space is being created. Meanwhile, inside the pit, an Echo Slam to hold back the puck. He should be able to get the blink away. Palos will also time walk up to the high ground.
But now what? They just don't have anything. Bottom lane's pushing in. You're down 2 heroes. You're down a Dream Coil. You're going to lose Roshan as well. Oh, what a way to go if this is the way that Execration are bowing out.
No, they're picking up Palos. Okay, we'll be able to TPR.
Level 18, Ag Shard, maybe try and force them to use a preemptive BKB. It does feel like one of the only ways that they might be able to come back into this one at all, but it's not looking likely. 6% probability remains for Execration coming through here. We'll look to go as quickly as possible, push out this next wave so it's not an area of concern for the next team fight. Even Bob, oh, he's kind of been caught out a little bit here, spooked. Off by Play Hard, and well, he'll have to get back. Might try and push out one last wave before he returns to the base, but you got to spend this gold, brother. This could be the last defense. Back shot on Palos.
Good luck going through a second life. And the first is hard enough to kill off on the Pudge. Crimson Guard will keep the barracks healthy for the moment. Not really going to help out versus the Impetus. Tino's fallen low at the moment. Fortune Soul won't have an opening though for the hook. This is silence.
Mindbreaker.
Oh my lord, the chainsaw as well. Fortune Soul is slowed down. They're going to go for Bob instead. The puck forced to drop the coil though, so they can't close the distance. He's in trouble. He's going to orb to the right side. He'll bait it out, but the blink's still caught up. Bobby doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do.
He has to 1v5, that's the thing. Luckily enough, he didn't buy his items, so at least he's got the buyback coming through here.
Forced to pop the BKB to deal with the chains, but this is your first life on the Pudge, and they're barely tickling him. Fortune Soul seems unkillable at this stage in the game. Palos will line up the Chronosphere, but it's only on to one. In fact, it'll just set them up for an Echo Slam. As Bob, you said he had to do it all. He might be able to kill off Play Hard. Tino's going to move back into the middle as well, but the chains from afar, the damage from Ser, they'll go to Shanks next as well. Neon, it looks like they've done it. It looks like they've knocked out Execration from the TI qualifier run. The G's had dropped, and who would have thought that Neon would be able to do it?
The last place team from the DPC into top 6 in the TI qualifiers. They're looking real happy, just jumping out of their chairs instantly. They know the job's not done though. They've got a very, very tough series coming up next against Polaris when we do get back to them in tomorrow's games. And yeah, big smiles on all the boys there. What a great experience as well for some of them. You know, Fortune's Soul, he's come so close yet so far. So